Hey guys, Mix here. In this video, we are back working on our project, the 1992 Suzuki RM125, and hopefully today we're going to be finishing disassembling it. It's going to be pretty hard today because it is freezing out. Yeah, so it's going to be a lot harder to work because I can barely move. So I'm definitely going to try and figure out a way to work inside somewhere, because it's gonna be hard work in this winter because it's gonna be a cold winter. But anyway, if you guys saw the second to last video that I posted with this, we started disassembling it, but we ran into the problem by not having a big enough socket for this big nut.
That's what she said.
Like I said in the last video, my teacher, Mr. Pope, shout out to him, came through and let me borrow a socket from the auto shop. So we got that off. Now we can go ahead, take off the forks and everything else that needs to come off. So I'm definitely hoping today that we can at least get the engine out and pretty much just have the whole thing apart. It's really not that hard to take apart a dirt bike. It's simple. So all we really have to do is just take off the forks, take off the swing arm, take off the rear plastic, exhaust, airbox, and the engine should just come out. I already took off one of the mounting bolts, and then I think there's just like 2 or 3 more. Then all the little stuff like the electrical, and then we just pull off the radiator. So it should be pretty simple. So yeah, let's get started. We're gonna start off with the forks. So last time when we were disassembling this, I already took off these little tightening bolts that are on the side. Now I'm just gonna do the lower ones, and then now that this is loose, and then the forks should just slide right down. Alright, so now that the bolts on each side are loosened, now we can try and wiggle this off. Sometimes it needs to be hit with the hammer. I start hitting it with the hammer a little bit just to kind of loosen it up a little. But the problem that we kind of have here is because usually you want the frame higher than the front so it can just slide down. So what I'm going to try and do is do the opposite. Pull up the tire and wiggle it a little. Okay, so here it comes. Okay, there we go. So we have the top part of our fork assembly off. I'll probably see if I can get this powder coated too, along with the frame. I don't know if it needs to be a special material or something. So now what we got to do is unscrew this little locking screw. I'm not sure what the real name of it is. But a lot of times you could get it with channel lock pliers, or sometimes you could just hit it with the screwdriver in these little like indents here. That's what I'm going to do. And then once that's out, we should have full control of the forks. Alright, so the front forks are off. It was definitely a little tricky, just getting the frame to, kind of just lift up off from the frame, because usually you want the frame to be higher than the forks so it can just slide down. But this is the highest that the stand goes. Definitely have to adjust that. That's not safe. So the frame's definitely gonna fall over if I don't fix that. But anyways, so as you guys probably just saw, I just lifted it up and the forks actually slid out pretty nicely. So guys, now I'm gonna stabilize the frame onto the stand and then move on to the swing arm. Last video we already took off the shocks, the little axle going between the swing arm over there. Now I think there's just one more bolt that we need to take off somewhere. I think it's under there. Yeah, I think it's that one right there. Now I think it should just come right off. Okay. Oh, Jesus. That was almost really bad. Alright, so this whole entire frame just came falling off when that axle came out. But the swing arm should be able to disattach now. The frame's definitely not as sturdy as I hoped it to be. It's a little lopsided, but should be fine. Alright, so I just disconnected the brake line. Now this thing should just slide right off. Well, it's off. Okay, that's better. Alright, so there we go. Now we just pull out the shock. Boom. Just like that. Boom, just like that. Alright, so this is what I got going right now to keep the frame and everything stable enough for me to work on it. I mean, it should be fine. It's pretty stable in there. We've got some wood keeping it a little bit stabler, if that's even a word. And then we got the mini bike kind of just leaning up against it. So, I mean, it should work for now. Because right now we're going to start unbolting the rest of the mounts for the engine. Then over here we got the parts that we just took off, the shock, swing arm, and forks. And if some of you were wondering why I kept the tires on them, it's because these things are brand new. It's not like I'm going to be replacing them or anything. So once we get these parts cleaned up and it's ready to put back onto the frame, it'll just be way simpler and just really easy. And then one thing that it's a good thing to do is keep all the parts with the part it came off of. So we got the bearings and the nut and everything that was on the forks, and we got the little axle that was on the swing arm. And now let's go back to the frame and try and start unbolting this engine. I'm probably gonna start taking off the exhaust right now because that needs to come off before anything. And then just a couple mounts that we have left, and then this thing should just be able to slide right out. Alright, so I just took off the exhaust. We're definitely gonna be able to clean this up nicely and make it look good. But there is a ton of oil that's dripping out of the exhaust port. And right now the engine's hydrolocked with oil, so it's like totally locked up right now. But once I take out the spark plug, it'll turn over perfectly fine. But just a ton of oil would shoot out. That's definitely one of the problems that we had with the engine. Definitely a seal somewhere, maybe just the piston rings are fried. I already know that the bottom end needs to be totally rebuilt. But now that we got the exhaust off, we start taking off these mounts that we have. There's only, I think, like 3 left or so because I took off the main one in the back. Alright guys, so on second thought, I don't think I'm going to remove the engine today. I know, I'm sorry, but it is honestly like 10 degrees outside. I cannot function my hands, and the sun's starting to set already. So it sucks working outside like this in the cold, which is why I'm about to invest some money into a little garage or shed, whatever you would call it. So maybe next video we'll be working under a roof in the heat, which would be nice. Then I'll be able to get more stuff done, make longer videos. So when I'm outside, the camera dies like 100 times. So I need to run inside, let it charge all the way back up, come back out, record for like 20 minutes. It'll die again from the cold. So that sucks, but what are you gonna do? I didn't get as much done as I hoped to. I could definitely finish this within soon, but I didn't get this video up for you guys today. But you know, we got the major parts off. Next video with this, we'll just take off the airbox, fender, engine, radiator, electrical, and that should be pretty much it. So I'm gonna start